with the main Chip Washington. It's real talk. Man, it's real talk with your main Chip Washington. When it comes to information, the main got an arsenal. Bring you up to speed with what you need. He's the local and nationwide news feed. Let's talk about it. Dialect to do something about it. Chip got the flow wide open if you got questions about it. Man, it's the show that brings you to your raw. To solve all problems, it starts with real talk. Real talk. It's 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 real talk. Yeah. Welcome to Real Talk with your host, Chip Washington. It's real talk. It's real talk. It's real talk.
And here we go on this Monday, February 7th. Yes, it is the first Monday in February. Of course, we were just blowing through this year. And speaking of blowing through, we'll talk a little bit about the ice storm of 2022 in just a few minutes. But welcome in. Real Talk Memphis is on the air. I am your humble host, Chip Washington. Very glad to be here. Very glad to be anywhere. And I hope that you are going to join us for this hour of jam-packed information and conversation. Always nice to know you're out there. I know many of you are can give us plenty of stories about the ice storm that hit us on Thursday. We'll talk a little bit more about that in just a little while. But the business at hand, of course, is the show and how you can get us on your whatever device it is you choose to get us on. Many ways to do that, of course, ladies and gentlemen, and I will walk you through them. Of course, we're on live right now, 91.7 WYXR on the FM side. We are also on the station website, WYXR.org. You can get us on the app as well. We can also be heard live on the TuneIn app right now, TUNEIN, and then put the station in the search and you can catch us. We are also on Facebook Live, and after the show, post-show will be on YouTube, so you can check it out as well. And as we are a podcast, you can always catch us wherever it is you get your podcasts when they post it tomorrow afternoon. Well, we have a pretty good show for you tonight in spite of. We were, at one point, nobody knew who was up and who was down in terms of the power thing, but happy to say we're here and all is well with the crew, and that's always a good thing. We have, like I said, a pretty good show tonight. Randall Phillips will be my first guest in a few minutes. He is a robotics instructor, knows a lot about cold crew and things like that, and he's going to explain to us, he does a lot of teaching with the young kids, young folks out there in terms of coding and the robotics. And, I want to find out, I guess this seems to be the future, the wave of the future. So he'll talk to us about that. But first, up in just a few minutes, we will have the executive director of the Stax, American Museum of Music History. He is Jeff Kollath, and he is going to talk to us about a very, very big honor, the Stax Music Museum received by way of being on a very important tour through the United States. We'll talk about that. And in the second half hour, we will talk to Mark Fleischer. He is the publisher of an interesting publication called Storyboard in Memphis. And they talk about a lot of the things that, you may see in this town, but may not necessarily know about. They're sort of dedicated to telling those stories. So a lot to get to tonight, but as always, we want to celebrate you on this first Monday in February. And, of course, we can't do that until I say, hit it, Lola.
Happy
Happy birthday, of course, to all of you February babies out there, all of you born in the second month of the year. So let's get to it. Happy birthdays on this February 7th. Thad Beckman is celebrating his birthday today. His wife, Amy, actually had her birthday on Saturday, so happy belated birthday to you, Amy. Rhonda Freeman, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Phyllis Phillips. Amanda Galloway. Steph Q, happy birthday to you. Andrea Marche. Jeff Kinney celebrating a birthday today, as is Jonelle McCoy. Calvin Jerry Smith, otherwise known as the man that plays the horns in the group Trio Plus. It's his birthday today. Good guy, really good guy. Happy birthday to Trina Ernest, to Mark C. Lee. Happy birthday to Tawanda Williams and Sherelle Foster. Happy birthday to each and every one of you. Congratulations for making another trip around the sun. And I hope to be here next year so we can celebrate you all over again. Thank you, Lola. Okay, so now we need to get to the business at hand. Ice Storm 2022, and we were all told about it. And I don't know if we all thought it was going to be as bad as it was, because it was pretty tough. Over 140,000 people without power on that day. I wasn't here in 1994. I wasn't living here, but I heard about it, and it was it was really something. And I think for a lot of folks, this brought back some very bad memories of what was going on. I did check right before the show with MLGW in terms of their outage map, and they still have about 60,000 people without power several days after this storm has left us. They are talking about perhaps right now they're looking at Thursday by midnight, hoping to have about 95% of most everybody turned back on. I know that's not news people want to hear, but it is happening, and so we have to deal with it. I lost power at my house for about 14 hours. It was very unpleasant, of course, and I know many people have stories to tell and to share about that as well. So, yeah, not good, man. It was a tough time, and it was very, very cold, too, and I thought about so many people out there who the least of us, who didn't have. And, there were some folks out here who did not lose power, so good for you. But for a lot of other folks, I mean, it meant some very tough conditions. I was late to the party and trying to get a hotel room on Thursday. Everything was sold out, everything. And, of course, that gave those guys a chance to, raise those prices, too. But all worked out. Went to the son's house, and he did not lose power, so we were in good shape on that. So that was pretty good. But a lot of folks, were out for several days, and I'm praying that sooner rather than later is the key to all of this and getting that power back on. MLG is working hard. I used to work at MLGW, so I know, and a lot of people are talking about the infrastructure. Yes, it's bad. It's really bad. And whenever you see situations like this, which are rare, it all comes to light. So, we'll deal with it one day at a time. And I know the guys are out there working hard, and, they're doing their very best. And that's all we can hope for. Let's talk about the Omicron variant. Yes, the numbers are going down. They are going down. There are no, mandates in effect. As a matter of fact, I saw earlier today that many states across this country are removing mandates. Again, this has become a situation where it is you and your choice and your decision about what you want to do and how you want to protect yourself. I still wear a mask, but if you don't want to, you don't have to. Nobody's going to arrest you if you don't. But understand that, the COVID variant is still here. There's still over 2,000 people a day dying from this virus, COVID. And over 900,000 people since March of 2020 have died from COVID or some form of COVID in the last 2 years. 900,000 people. And we're still seeing about 2,000 people now with this latest variant, Omicron, dying per day. But the numbers and all the metrics are coming down, so we want to pray that folks are doing the right thing. Get your boosters, get your vaccination. If you haven't gotten those, get your boosters. If you haven't gotten those, you can still get test kits from the United States government. Just go online and order, and they will send them to your house. I can tell things are getting better because I was at Walgreens over the weekend picking up a prescription, and I happened to look behind the counter then, and I saw some of those tests that they have there for sale. So, yeah, that tells me that things are getting a little bit better. Okay, so I'm going to shift gears here and go to a subject that's rather unpleasant, but it did happen. Of course, everyone who is aware of what happened, I believe it was last Wednesday or Thursday, I can't remember exactly when 27-year-old Danielle Hoyle was found shot dead in a vehicle. It was February 2nd. She had just given birth 2 days earlier to a newborn baby named Kennedy. When officers found her, she was in a vehicle in Whitehaven. The baby was nowhere to be found. The individual that they arrested for this heinous crime admitted to shooting her and killing her and taking the baby and throwing the baby in the water at the upper Mud Island boat ramp. And he threw the weapon away as well. I will not name him because he does not deserve to be named. I posted something on this on Facebook because I was just, and I'm still bothered by this. We see crime every day. We do. And a lot of people are affected by it in various ways. But this incident in particular, just, I don't know, it shook me to my core, and it takes me to another place. It really, really does, in terms of even calling this individual who was in court today, a human being. He's a coward as far as I'm concerned, and there are a lot of other words I could use, but then I wouldn't be able to come back on the radio station. That's a very, very, very sad case, and I saw his mother. My deepest condolences and sympathies go out to her family and all of her friends and people who knew her. So, it's just a heinous situation. And I think I take comfort in the fact that this particular individual won't be on the streets ever again after all is said and done with this. Okay, so many of you, and we're probably a bit surprised before I do that story, former Senator now, Katrina Robinson, she's been formally expelled from the state Senate by her Republican peers. The search now goes on, and it will be decided by the county commission as to who will replace her in that seat until the election comes up in August. She was supposed to be sentenced for the latest indictment that she was under in March, but apparently the folks up there couldn't wait, and they decided by vote to expel her from the state Senate. Now, before I get to our first guest and start the show, a lot of us were shocked when we heard that Jackson State University was pulling out of the Southern Heritage Classic. Did you hear about that? Yeah, they sent an email, they meaning Jackson State, to Fred Jones saying that because of some scheduling conflicts by the SWAC football conference, they will no longer be able to participate in this classic. This has been going on for about 33 years, and they signed a new contract in 2019. Needless to say, event organizer and founder Fred Jones has talked to his lawyers, and they plan to respond to Jackson State for what is clearly a breach of contract. No one seems to really know exactly what happened here or why it happened, but now Fred is going to have to try to find another team to go against Tennessee State University. It's sometimes I just have to just shake my head because I just don't understand these things. But yeah, this has caused a lot of problems, and I know so many people enjoy coming here, who are affiliated with Jackson State and Tennessee State. Oh, and by the way, speaking of Tennessee State, President Glenda Glover found out about the fact that Jackson State was out of it by watching the news and seeing social media. She didn't even get notified by the school. So, classy, very classy. All right, that's enough for news and notes on this Monday evening. We're going to take our first break, and when we come back, we are going to talk to the man that runs Stax, and he is going to talk to us about a very big honor the record label and the museum received. This is Real Talk Memphis. I am Chip. You know who you are. We'll be right back.
If you like Real Talk, here's a way you can get involved. Do you have a show topic idea or suggestion? Want to be considered a guest or have a guest idea? Then send Chip a message on his Real Talk show page and you can be a part of the Real Talk experience. So as he always says, go out and tell somebody. We'll be right back.
Support for WYXR comes from the Germantown Performing Arts Center presenting the Love Light Orchestra album release concert live in the Duncan Williams Performance Hall Friday, February 18th at 7:30 p.m. Ticket information at gpacweb.com.
You see why I miss you? Your love is outside. Yes,
Support for WYXR comes from the Germantown Performing Arts Center, presenting Dee Dee Bridgewater and Memphis Symphony live in the Duncan Williams Performance Hall, Saturday, February 12th at 8 p.m. Tickets and more information at gpacweb.com.
You ain't nothing but a hound dog.
The Brooks is open in Overton Park. Home to Memphis art collection since 1916, the Memphis Brooks Museum of Art holds the largest collection of world art in the region, with more than 10,000 works spanning 5,000 years of art and cultures. Remember, every Wednesday is free and open until 8 p.m. They are a proud sponsor of WYXR. For more information about the museum and their exhibitions, visit brooksmuseum.org. You belong at the Brooks.
Get Real Talk on the TuneIn mobile app under WYXR, and he's now streaming live on Facebook. And you can also catch a rebroadcast on YouTube. Just put WYXR in the search box and hit subscribe. Now back to more Real Talk with Chip Washington.
And welcome back to Real Talk Memphis on this Monday evening. I am your host, Chip Washington. Very happy to have you with us. And, all I need to do is say one word, and I'm pretty sure that everybody will know what I'm talking about, and that is Stax. Stax, American Museum of Music, the history of Stax is what helped to build this country in terms of the music that we hear today. I mean, artists such as Sam and Dave and Isaac Hayes, of course, and who's the one that sings "Sitting on Top"? Otis Redding. I'm sorry, Otis Redding. I had a brain lock there for a second. Well, anyway, the museum received a very big honor. Many of you are probably familiar with the U.S. Civil Rights Trail in this country, where you can go to various cities and you can see some of the historical sites there. Well, Stax Museum was recently added to the United States Civil Rights Tour here in Memphis, along with Beale Street and Mason Temple and several other entities. And to talk with me about that is the executive director of the Stax Museum of American Music. He is Jeff Kollath. And Jeff, thank you for being on Real Talk tonight, and congratulations.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, it's quite an honor. Tennessee Tourism Commissioner Mark Ezell came to visit last year. The pandemic time just sort of has fallen apart, but he came to visit. Right. And really suggested it's something that we should apply for, that he would recommend us for, and we were lucky enough to be selected. And it's an honor to be here with the other great five other spots here in Memphis and 100 other locations across 15 states.
So basically, what does this mean to be a part of this tour? So people can come here. Is there's a special designation? I'm pretty sure there is. Kind of run that down for us in terms of how this is all being set up.
Sure. So the United States Civil Rights Trails actually operated, or kind of its home base is the Alabama Department of Tourism, and obviously with the history in Montgomery, Birmingham, and Selma, it was something that they had really developed and pushed for in their state, and it expanded. And so really, it's to drive tourism to these sites, to drive learning and education to these sites. And it starts all as far west as Topeka, Kansas, which is where the landmark Brown versus Board of Education case was in 1954, separate but not equal, of course, all the way down to the state of Florida and then all the southern states in between. And so, yes, there's certainly some, there's strength in numbers, there's power in numbers. So we're able to market together under this one umbrella and to drive people to our sites. Obviously, we were getting folks to come to Stax who were coming to visit the other 5 Memphis sites before we received this designation. And now it will work the other way too. And hopefully we can drive some visitation to some of our other friends, especially down at the Lorraine Motel and the Civil Rights Museum too.
It really is amazing just to think about, really, just as you were talking, just thinking about some of the very historic sites here in Memphis, Tennessee. Now, I know that there are also some designations in Nashville, and I know one of them, I think, was Fisk College and a few other places as well. But back to what goes on here, when you think about, when you think about music, of course, you think about Stax, but you also think about Beale Street. It seems like it's just a very natural connection, doesn't it? Mark, I mean, Jeff, I just feel like it just one has to go hand in hand with the other. Wouldn't you say so?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's very difficult for, I think to separate the culture and the art of the civil rights era from the politics, the culture, the movement itself. I mean, they really go hand in hand. And Stax was certainly part of the soundtrack of the latter part of the civil rights movement, really starting 1967 or so with the release of Soul Man, written by Mr. Hayes and Mr. Porter and cut by Sam and Dave. And then obviously after the assassination of Dr. King here in Memphis, just about 2 miles from where I'm sitting right now, really just brought the civil rights movement and the struggle for freedom and the struggle, for equality to the front door, literally to the front door at Stax Records in 1968. And the company changed along with the times, the rise of Al Bell, another great, radio personality from back of the day, great man, still doing work at 81 years old. Wow. And, but he really was the driving force behind so much of that. And really at the core of that was this idea of we're going to take care of the people who take care of us. And for them, it was the record buying public. And he really pushed Stax to invest in local communities and to Black communities, starting here in Memphis, and then it spread really all over the world.
Man, this is really good stuff. We're speaking with Jeff Kollath. If you're just joining us, he is the executive director of the Stax Museum of American Music. Now, Jeff, there is another generation that you all are spawning, and I'm really excited about just the learning opportunity for these young people. So, talk to us a little bit about the Stax Academy, if you will.
Sure. So, really we serve youth and educate the youth in really 3 different ways here. We do it every day through the Soulsville Charter School, which is our world-class college preparatory, middle and high school. Absolutely. 660 students, thereabouts, 100% graduation rate.
Excellent.
They're doing incredible things. The Stax Music Academy, which is our after-school music performance academy, again, grades 6 through 12, really the foundation of their music education is soul music, American soul music, and the Stax sound. And then at the Stax Museum, we're educating, pre-pandemic, about 7,000 students from all over the country, but way more than half of that are from Shelby County schools and Memphis City schools. And so we do informal education, we have formal education. We're really taking this story to a new generation. And, this music, we talk about this all the time, even when the museum is having its 20th anniversary in next May.
Okay.
And so when the museum opened, that was a generation ago. So
Yeah.
we were 2 generations beyond Stax when we opened. Now we're going to be almost 3 generations beyond Stax when the museum hits its 20th anniversary. So this music is not a distant memory to these young people at all. It's a distant memory to their grandparents in some ways. So it's really, it's one of the biggest challenges we have, but it's also a welcome challenge because I think it's just finding new ways to share this music with a new generation. And there's always an entry point. And I think that's one of our most exciting challenges here is to try to find that and to keep everybody excited about it.
Well, I got to tell you got me excited about it, and there are a whole lot of other people as well. So I just wanted to say congratulations again, man. This is a very, very big honor. And now I'm going to tell you something before I go. I'm going to pick at you a little bit. Now I saw the tease of you going to be on WMC 5-Star Stories after the Olympics. So I got you first. That's first, right. but people are gonna be confused because when you did that, you had a little facial hair. So
I did. That was a while back. I'm in danger of being overexposed, Chip. I'm
Man,
on TV for that, and I'm on here now. So
that's all right.
It's we've got a lot going on. You know, I think like for all of our cultural institutions, the pandemic has been difficult, but we're really hoping to come back strong and. 2022, great programming. Check out our website, staxmuseum.com. You can see everything that we're up to.
Absolutely. And man, listen, thank you so much for taking a few minutes to come on the show tonight and share the big news with us. I really appreciate it, and I hope you come back.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime. Thanks for having me, Chip.
All right, take care. Jeff Kolath, ladies and gentlemen, the executive director of the Stax American Museum of History, and he walked us through everything, and that was amazing. And to be on this tour, and listen, if you've not gone to Stax, you need to go over there. You need to check this thing out. This is living American history in terms of the music that we listen to and that we listened to growing up. So very happy to have him on the show. We're going to take our next break, and before I do, I see a lot of folks on my feed tonight, man. I see Pam Crittenden-Johnson, Edward Stanton, Marshawn Chrysler is watching from Jackson, Mississippi. My brother Michael Washington is in Los Angeles, California. Man, he said he's proud of me. I'm proud of you too, man. Don Sugar Ray is watching, Wanda Alberson, Bill Anderson, and a whole lot of other folks out here checking things out. Carlos Rogers, the man that chops me up, and of course my next guest who will be with us on the other side of the break. This is Real Talk Memphis. I'm Chip. We'll be right back.
If you like Real Talk, here's a way you can get involved. Do you have a show topic idea or suggestion? Want to be considered a guest or have a guest idea? Then send Chip a message on his Real Talk show page and you can be a part of the Real Talk experience. So as he always says, go out and tell somebody. We'll be right back.
WYXR 91.7 FM explores the rare and influential music that fans may have missed with WYXR Stereo Sessions, presented by Nexair and Menfo, a monthly series of hi-fi album listening parties. Join us Wednesday, February 16th at 6 p.m. for a celebration of Memphis progressive rock band Companion and their mid-70s LP, Reap the Lost Dreamers, with special guests Pat Sansone of Wilco and Companion keyboardist Mike Russell. This series is brought to you by a grant from Humanities Tennessee and is sponsored by Tamburino, Memphis Listening Lab, Via Productions, and Garner Records. Limited seating is available, so RSVP for the free public event at WYXR.org.
So many feelings, I will show my love instead.
Brought to you by Crosstown Concourse, offering brand new musical experiences like concerts, live score film screenings, record release parties, weekly music pop-ups, and so much more. For more information, visit crosstownconcourse.com/visit.
Support for WYXR, including our 2022 stereo sessions, comes from Tamburino. Tamburino's staff of IT specialists help businesses with technology setup and support. Details at tamburino.com.
Get Real Talk on the TuneIn mobile app under WYXR, and he's now streaming live on Facebook. And you can also catch a rebroadcast on YouTube. Just put WYXR in the search box and hit subscribe. Now back to more Real Talk with Chip Washington.
And welcome back to Real Talk Memphis on this first Monday in February. I'm Chip, very happy to have you with us, and I'm very happy to have my next guest with me this evening. The world is moving, whether we want to acknowledge it or not, and one of the things that we see is technology. Technology is a very big deal, and my next guest does a lot of teaching in that regard, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. His name is Randall Phillips, and he is a robotics instructor. He teaches code with Code Crew folks and teaches these young people, who have unlimited potential, how they're going to be successful in this technological world that we live in. And Randall, thank you very much for coming on Real Talk, man. It's good to see you.
Good to see you, and thank you for having me on your show.
Absolutely that. So last time I think I saw you, and it's been a minute, was at the robotics showcase.
It was a showcase at
MLGW. Yeah, I was working there at the time. Yeah, and I was absolutely floored at some of the demonstrations that I saw from young people. And I'm talking about kids, 8, 9, 10, 11 years old, putting these things together. Now, you teach robotics and you teach code. First of all, how big an interest, or is there a big interest, should I say, from the young people in these particular fields?
Yes, there is a big interest, and one of the things that I, have to tell the children to embrace is that, this is not going away. I jumped in electronics back in the 7th grade.
Wow. Okay.
So that was like 78 when I was in the 7th grade.
Yeah. Okay.
And I've been in electronics and graduated as an engineer, after high school, and I've been in it, off and on since, like in computing, get into networking, and then getting into robotics, which is part of what I was learning as an engineer. And I'm thankful to get back into robotics.
Yeah, it seems like that is clearly the wave of the future, and of course, this generation that's coming up now, has a lot more advantages coming up, than I know I had, maybe we had coming up, but it just seems so, we are in this world now. This is a technologically based world, and with computers and programming and things like that. Talk a little bit about Code Crew and your work with them and what that's all about.
Okay, I've been with Code Crew a little over a year, and I worked with them first, during the pandemic when we were basically doing what we call virtual or remote teaching, and we were using online tools to teach them coding and walk them through things. And we had to use Zoom to, we set up like private rooms, like they would get confused. We'd bring some over and walk them through the different things that they would have to do in coding, teaching them the different skills on how to order the code, how to make the code repeat itself, how to make decisions, how to look at different things, and help make decisions, because even you can write an app to calculate your mortgage, and you can write the code for it because the formulas are already there. You just got to take the formulas and plug them in, and you can write an app. I know that everybody else has done it already, but we can show them how it's done just by breaking down something like that.
Sure. I mean, I'm fascinated by it because, and I'm not real good. My aptitude isn't in that area, but it just seems as if it's just an exciting way for young people to really use their brains and just figure things out. And that seems like what this is all about in this whole world of technology, robotics, code, the whole 9 yards, and all of the other areas that go into this. It really is about learning how to figure things out. Am I correct in that?
Yes, you're correct. If you see where, my main job is working for a company named First, and that's where robotics ties in that coding and ties in that extraordinary thinking that you have to do. And with First, we have 5 different programs. We're covering pre-K through 12th grade, and they have a time limit on building the robot, coding the robot, and having the robot perform the tasks that are going to competition. And I started out as a volunteer. I've been volunteering for over 14 years. I started working with them 4 years ago as what we call a senior mentor. That doesn't mean I'm the head mentor over all the mentors. That has a different qualification. What it is I have a territory to cover to help expand the program and introduce the program, bring the program to fruition, find volunteers, find coaches, find places to put this program. And then I also get to volunteer. I also volunteer as a coach. I actually have my own 2 teams in what we call First Lego League. And it's been exciting working with the children direct with my own team, working with the children and code crew, teaching them coding, because we're using some, in the old world, all just words. It started out with just numbers. Now it went to words. Now we're into block coding, where you see this block does certain things, and you still have to learn the word type coding, because that's where you advance yourself and go and move on in the world, because everything else is under that, and it gets broken down into all this graphical things that interfaces with us every day. Because the moment you pick up your cell phone, there's several programs running there that's been coded by somebody.
Did you say that you started you working with kids as young as kindergartners, up to like 5th grade? Did I hear you correctly when you said that?
Yes, we have programs that start at pre-K, go through 12th grade.
Man, that is. I mean, I just can't even imagine. Of course, I know a few 3rd graders who are smarter than I am. So right now, but it just amazes me that they can and they pick it up relatively. I mean, with what speed do they? And I know it depends on the age and the grade, but I mean, do they pick it up relatively quickly?
They do, and you got to remember, children don't know anything such as fear just yet. I think sometimes we teach them too much fear. We know that we're supposed to help keep them safe. Like, for instance, you don't want them to touch the oven because the oven's been on, and teach them, hey, that's hot, don't touch it, but they got to touch it anyway, right? To learn that, hey, it's hot, I'll get burned. But when you switch it over to something that the children can adapt to, and that's where Lego education helps kick in with First, and how these STEM, STEAM, and STREAM tools to help them, guide them. Okay, put these things together, do this, and it will run. And then some of them you have to mix with code and tell the code to send to the device that you're coding, and have that device do those things. I know this is radio and video. I have a couple of robots sitting beside me. If you want to see a couple of them.
Well, I mean, if I got about a minute or so. If you can demonstrate, something. I wouldn't mind seeing that at all.
I don't think I can demonstrate it running, but I can show. Here's one.
Yeah.
This is like a 3rd generation robot that Lego Education put out.
Wow.
It has 4 motors and 4 sensors on
it. And young people built that, did they?
Yes.
That's impressive,
built
man.
This. And let me
show me the other one. Yeah, show me the other one. Yeah.
This is the 4th generation robot.
Oh my God. Okay. How old were the kids that put that one together?
They're between 5th grade and 8th grade.
That is awesome. That's absolutely awesome, man. I tell you, I feel, I like to think that I know one or two things, but I feel absolutely kind of, useless right now because I'm just
don't feel useless. Because the argument is like, the kiosks that are going up in restaurants, people are feeling like that's taking people's job.
Yeah.
But here's the reality to that. People are not wanting to work. So what is the company's going to do? So they're replacing the people that don't understand customer service, and they're putting a machine in place of customer service. But here's the beauty of that. They're retraining somebody who wants to work to operate that kiosk and operate the register, teach them customer service, and they teach the people how to use the kiosk machine, and they run the register, and they know customer service all at the same time. So you get a price, you get a pay raise, and you get to do a little bit more things and that you like.
And the circle goes round and round and round. Randall Phillips, I have really enjoyed talking to you about all of this, and I want to wish you the best of luck, and keep doing. I think what you're doing is an absolute blessing because you're teaching our young people to have really amazing futures one day. So thank you for that, and thank you for coming on Real Talk, man. And look to have you back down the road. Go ahead.
Yeah. Thank you for that. And I know this is one of my goals to do something for Black History Month, and you just helped me, set one of my goals, and also wanted to end with this thought that. One of the things we say in robotics, this is the only sport that everybody can go pro.
Man, look, that's a drop the mic moment. Even my producer looked at me and was like, yes, sir. Absolutely that. Randall, thank you so much for coming on the show, man. I really appreciate you. Take care, okay?
Thank you very much.
All right, take care. Man, that was great. I really love that. This is the only field that everybody can be a pro. Doggone it. There you go. That's it. We are moving along here on this first Monday in February. I am Chip Washington, your humble host. This is Real Talk Memphis. We're going to take our final break. And when we come back, we're going to talk to a young man who has a story to tell. That's all I'll tell you for my tease. This is Real Talk Memphis. We'll be right back.
If you like Real Talk, here's a way you can get involved. Do you have a show topic idea or suggestion? Want to be considered a guest or have a guest idea? Then send Chip a message on his Real Talk show page and you can be a part of the Real Talk experience. So as he always says, go out and tell somebody. We'll be right back.
Renowned dance artist Lil Buck stars in Memphis Jookin' the Show, an ode to his hometown in Memphis, Tennessee, and the street dance culture of the Bluff City, which has drawn intrigue and emulation throughout the world of music, film, and stage performance. Memphis Jookin' the Show will premiere at the Orpheum Theater in Memphis on February 11th and 12th of 2022. Tickets and more information are available at orpheum-memphis.com.
Discover your next favorite artist at the Memphis Songwriter Series at the Halloran Center, hosted by Memphis songwriter Mark Edgar Stewart. On February 17th, Mark and his musical guests will take you on a journey behind their music, share personal stories, and introduce exciting new music. For more information on the Memphis Songwriter Series, visit orpheum-memphis.com.
The University of Memphis is proud to be a founding partner of WYXR. They have recently been named an R1 institution by the Carnegie Classification of Institutions of Higher Education, putting the U of M in the top tier of research universities nationally. This milestone solidifies the university as one of the 2 flagship public institutions in Tennessee. More information at memphis.edu.
Get Real Talk on the TuneIn mobile app under WYXR, and he's now streaming live on Facebook. And you can also catch a rebroadcast on YouTube. Just put WYXR in the search box and hit subscribe. Now back to more Real Talk with Chip Washington.
And welcome back to the big broadcast on this Monday. It's called Real Talk Memphis. Very happy to have you with us. And I was talking with one of my producers during the break, DJ Lola, and she says, I love tinkering. She said, I like, build stuff and tear. I mean, it's a big thing. She says, I still love doing it today. So yeah, I mean, if you can do that, you need to step into that. And if you're interested in that world of coding and technology, you ought to look into that as well. What we're going to look into right now is what I would like to call the story of Memphis. Now, there is a wonderful publication out there who is doing some good things, and we're going to find out a little bit more about it right now. I have the publisher of Storyboard Memphis with me. His name is Mark Fleischer. And Mark, thanks for coming on Real Talk. I really appreciate it.
Great. Thanks, Chip. Thanks for having me on tonight.
Yeah, absolutely that. So, Storyboard Memphis, you kind of tell the stories of some of the things that we see and some of the things that we know, but may not know a lot about. I hope I summarized that right, and you kind of dig in a little bit to give us the story behind the story. But I don't want to put words in your mouth. Tell us a little bit about the philosophy of Storyboard Memphis.
Well, we're a multimedia publication, so we're online. We have a podcast. We also our calling card is our magazine,
right? Which
we just relaunched in a quarterly. And this started out as a small online publication with freelance collaborators, and we started out by telling specifically, obviously, Memphis stories,
sure.
and that focused on kind of unknown or untold bits of history, Memphis history.
Mm-hmm.
But since then, we've really expanded into the community. We do a lot of stories that focus on the arts, local history, of course, community culture. But yeah, we do really try to get in behind the scenes. In other words, we really try to get into, we talk to individuals and talk about, why did you get into XYZ? Why did you start this development?
Mm-hmm.
Why were you interested in that development?
Mm-hmm.
Why were you interested in this particular art form? We really try to get behind the scenes and talk to the individuals involved with our stories.
When you do that, and I'm going to ask you maybe to give you a couple of stories in particular that you found, really, really interesting. A lot of folks have stories to tell. Memphis is a historical city on many, many levels. And as you continue to cultivate the story behind the story, do you find that to be the case? And I mean, even with some of the things that you hear and maybe learn, are you fascinated by some of the stories that you hear?
Oh, I am endlessly fascinated. For example, we started this multi-year project, and we're very fortunate to have the support of the A. Schwab store on Beale Street,
right?
And fortunate enough to dig into their archives, and already we've made these discoveries from the archives downstairs in the basement that really tell a bigger story of Beale Street, the businesses that are no longer there,
mm-hmm.
And everything that went on Beale Street through the lens of A. Schwab. So that's a good example. Is that we think we know about A. Schwab, and
sure.
we think we know it as a historical store on Beale Street, but there's so much more to the story. It's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, I was just sitting here thinking about it, and you talked about Beale Street, which is, I probably every business or older business has a definite story to tell. And a little bit earlier, we were talking about the Stax, Museum of American History over there, music history, and of course, there are just so many nuggets of information that a lot of us don't know. I'm not from Memphis, but since I've been here, there's so many things to learn. And what are you hoping to accomplish? What is your end game in terms of Storyboard Memphis? And by the way, I like that particular title. But but tell me about that.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm very fond of the title myself. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What we hope to accomplish really is to continue to instill a sense of hope, of healing in a way, to help continue to foster change. Our stories, by telling the getting more in depth into our stories, we hope to encourage others to do the same. A good example, when you talk about Stax, last summer we interviewed Tim Sampson,
right,
who's one of the directors of the museum, he told me the story of him and the local community walking around in the parking lot when after it had been bulldozed, walking around the community and looking at each other going, why can't we resurrect this? Why can't we rebuild it? Why not? And to me, that's a big part of the story of Memphis right now is why not? Right. Why not here? Why not Memphis? Mm-hmm. And when you look at those efforts, and they're all human efforts, right?
Sure.
When you look at those individual efforts, I hope it continues to inspire others to do the same. So for us, it's not about just the history, and we have such a rich history. It's not just about the arts and everything else. It's really about those stories behind it to hopefully, continue to inspire others to do the same.
Are you a native Memphian?
I'm not. So just like you, I'm not a native Memphian. I've been here for about 6 years.
Okay.
Yeah. I feel like I definitely have the perspective of a visitor who comes here and looks at native Memphians and says, do you all know what you have here? Do you know how rich this place is?
I think that's a legitimate question, because I think maybe a lot of folks who are from here, or born and raised here, tend to take it for granted. You grew up in it, you see it every day, but there have been evolutionary changes along the way, and some in the course of American history, monumental changes, via the civil rights music or civil rights movement. Elvis Presley, Stax, Mason Temple. A lot of these places in this town have great historical significance, and I echo that 100%. But I think when you live in a place, or you were born and raised in a place, you tend to take it for granted, don't you? Would you agree with that?
Oh yeah, I mean, I grew up in Southern California, and people ask me, do you miss it? And I'll say, no, I don't actually. And they'll say, don't you miss the sunshine and whatnot? And I might miss that sometimes, but yeah, you're right. You're growing up in a place, you definitely have a different perspective, and I think it's helpful also for Memphians to be reminded of the incredible, authentic richness of the assets we have in Memphis. Mm-hmm. We tend to forget about, we take for granted that Stax is there now.
Yeah.
We might take for granted there's other areas of town that, that Memphis maybe haven't visited in years. And so, yeah, for sure. You definitely have a different perspective that's coming in from, as an outsider. Yeah.
I think for me, and I forgot to mention one in particular, it's Sun Studios. And when you think of, the people that we know from the music perspective, and I'm saying that because this is a music station that we work at, where we do a little talk here. But when I think about, I've seen movies with, like Elvis and Jerry Lee Jones and Perkins and Johnny Cash. These are real people, and these are icons in their particular, field of endeavor. And that's what really, just to think about when you pass these places and when you walk inside, just think about who has been there in the past. And that to me is almost awe-inspiring to me.
It is. One of the things that we continue to explore, and we kind of retell some of these stories sometimes, or hopefully get more in depth into them, is the remarkable innovations that are here.
Yeah.
All the way from retail, the Piggly Wiggly, Clarence Saunders, all the way up to FedEx, but also, of course, our cultural innovations.
Yeah.
It's the richness is there's no depths to it. It just keeps going and going.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's endless.
So listen, before I let you go, how do we access Storyboard Memphis if people want to dig into it a little bit more?
Yeah, we go to storyboardmemphis.org. So just like it sounds, storyboardmemphis.org, all in one word. You can see the projects we're working on right now. You can see where to pick up our quarterly magazine. You can also check out where our podcasts are. And also you can check out our still in development TV show.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, that sounds like something that's going to be worth bringing you back on to talk about once that thing gets moving. Look forward to that.
I would love to.
Absolutely. That. Mark Fleischer, publisher, Storyboard Memphis. Thank you so much for taking a few minutes to come on the show tonight. I learned a lot, and I really appreciate you, man. And I look forward to hopefully getting you back on down the road.
Thanks, Chip. Thanks for having me.
Take care. Thank you so much. Yes, sir. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that puts the wraps on another really, really, really good show. And before I leave, just a couple of notes in reference to this ice storm that we had. And I completely and totally understand the frustration level that a lot of us felt who did lose power, and even those thousands of people who are still without power, even tonight. I'm praying for that to change relatively quickly. But let us think about those who are less fortunate than us, those who don't have a roof over their heads, those, I think about, on these bitterly cold nights, the homeless population that we have in this town. I think about, the elderly, and when the power went out, I was thinking about, any nursing homes that went out and things like that. But we just need to sort of look, I know a lot of us like to look inward, but I think we need to think outward. We need to think about things that affect others besides ourselves, because those are the stories, that we, and those are the people and the situations and the circumstances that we really need to care about. So as Lola plays this out, I'm very, very happy to once again have this opportunity to be on this fine radio station with this fine piece of radio broadcasting called Real Talk. Thank you to my guests, Randall Phillips, Jeff Kolath, and Mark Fleischer for joining me this evening. It truly is a privilege and an honor. And like I always say, let's try to take care of each other. We see enough bad news on a daily basis, but let's try to encourage each other, support each other, lift up, not push down. There's enough of that goes on. All right. We are better than that as people. And, my God tells me that I'm supposed to love, we're supposed to love one another. So, in that spirit, I love you, in his spirit, and I hope you do return that to me as well. So, as we get out of here, I'd like to thank Lola and Jack and Nicole for all they do to keep this thing moving and keep me straight. And if the Lord says so, we will be back here, same time, same station, and maybe we'll do it just a little bit better. God bless each and every one of you. And for all of us at Real Talk Memphis, I'm Chip, and I'm out.